Hello and welcome back to Villa TV and to Matchday Live on the back of a drubbing from Aston Villa over Newcastle United, beating them 4-1. Revenge for St James's Park earlier on in the campaign. Aston Villa up to 6th place now on 57 points. Newcastle still in 3rd, but only 2 points ahead now of Aston Villa in the race for Champions League. My name is Kate Tracy, alongside me James Chester and Alan McAnally. You're on co-coms. How was that for you?
The lads made it easy for me.
Yeah.
I didn't consider the thought of doing that and it not being a positive result. But yeah, I enjoyed my time up there, and it was a good game to do it for. It was a wonderful watch and a really good performance from the team. From
start to finish, Alan, the first thing you said, I mean, you were absolutely full of it. When you were walking along here to get into position for the show, giving it large to the fans,
yeah.
What a huge result.
I'm buzzing, by the way, absolutely buzzing. I must admit, although I thought we'd win 2-1 today, apart from the fact that we've got home advantage today, they're a good football team. They move the ball really well. They've got a bit of guts and determination in the middle of the park with Joe Linton and help me, Guimaraes. Yeah. And the boy Isaac can play, by the way. So and that Harvey Barnes. And to be fair, I thought we handled them really well. I thought our 2 fullbacks were fantastic. But I swear to God, I am absolutely buzzing, because 4-1 for us is a massive statement, huge statement, because there's a lot of people were probably thinking, Newcastle have done really well, they'll probably go to Villa and make sure Villa don't win. We in the second half were absolutely brilliant. And the first half was a bit cagey, to be fair, wasn't it? And they gave quite as good as we got. And we got a wonderful start with Oliver, you know, Ollie getting his goal with the lovely little deflection. That was a fantastic start. And we give one away. You know, Matson gets caught at the back post with Shaw, to be fair. But our fullbacks, apart from obviously Big Tyrone and Tielemans in the middle of the park, honestly, I cannot give the lads enough credit. And watching the game was absolutely, as a Villa fan, knowing the lads the way I do, I was absolutely blasted for them. It's a great result for us.
Because coming into this, we were talking about it on the pre-match show, the form that Newcastle have been in, they haven't had Europe to contend with. Yes, they won the Carabao Cup. With all of the momentum that has followed them from that win, though, lifting silverware, they just beat Crystal Palace 5-0. They thumped Man United. Coming here, fresh, well, with form. Yes, it's at Villa Park, but we've seen in the last 3 meetings of Newcastle and at Villa Park as well, they've beaten Villa. So for Villa to come off the back of PSG's disappointment ultimately and put up that kind of a performance, testament to where Aston Villa are now in comparison to where they were when previously facing Newcastle.
Yes, I think, as Alan just mentioned, Newcastle are a really, really good team, and especially with the run of form they're on as well, full of confidence. It was always going to be a difficult game today, but I think it shows the importance of Aston Villa's squad. The changes from the start in Matson and Mings, who I thought were both tremendous, and then the impact that JJ and Nana had on coming off the bench, pretty much immediately to swing the game in Aston Villa's favour.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the starting 11 then. Bring it right back to the start. 4 changes for Aston Villa. Tyrone Mings coming in, Ian Matson coming in as well, Marco Asensio, Ollie Watkins up top. Ollie Watkins, what a shrewd decision that was. Justified within 33 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was probably... There was the opportunity for Ollie to get back into the fray again, and obviously he's unlucky he doesn't score 2 goals in the first half.
He could have had the match ball within the first however many minutes.
He did really well. I'm going to go back. Listen, I could talk about Ollie Watkins all day as a striker, because if you watch his movement today, he was going in behind, he was chasing the ball long. Any time that Tielemans needed an out, he went behind the fullbacks. I talk to you all about it all the time. The goalkeeper's performance today in terms of his distribution, pinging that one into the corners, was absolutely fantastic. Tyrone Mings was brilliant today. We spoke about the problem with Dan Burn might causes, and I'm trying to think, I'm saying he lost 1 header today, Tyrone Mings. He really did, but absolutely fantastic. He was brilliant, Ollie. I thought he led the line with it. In fact, we were talking about it.
We
were talking about
on his own.
I think he's the best. As a striker, sometimes when you have to play with your back to goal, it can be difficult, because you're just part of the team then, and you're keeping the ball, stopping defenders get the ball, and then coming back and give it, and then getting back in the box. He was fantastic at that today, wasn't he?
Brilliant, yeah.
And for you know as a defender, if he's got strength and he's got a good touch, it's almost impossible for you to get the ball back.
Yeah, well, I said before the game that I don't think Newcastle defenders will enjoy playing against him today. Especially with having started the last 3 games, he'd have had the bit between his teeth from that, and just how he is physically, he's difficult to play against. And I think the ball's up from Emmy as well, like you touched on it, certainly in the first half.
Brilliant.
I don't think he lost the header, and then
No, won 4 of his 5 aerial duels.
McGinn, Asensio, and
But as much as we're talking about his hold-up play, I thought his selfishness running in behind has got to be an out for a football team, because if you're just standing, even if you're standing side on and looking to get the ball to feet, it's very difficult for somebody to thread one through when you've got the likes of Guimaraes or whomever standing in front of the back four or back three, whatever way they wanted to play. But if you're prepared to do that and then go in behind, it's not easy, but it's easier for our midfield players to play that one in behind and get them turning. I speak about it all the time.
It's awful for a centre-half as well.
Yeah,
the last thing as a centre-half you want to be doing is running backwards.
And by the way, Livramento, I wouldn't take him on at 100 metres, by the way. He's quick, that boy. Yeah. And Kieran Trippier's got plenty of experience and his delivery's fantastic. In the first half, you're like, yeah, I'll take that. That's a good performance. And the managers obviously asked for more. There was a spell for 15 minutes that we absolutely were all over them like an old suit. And we nicked the ball, got another goal, and then finished, to be quite honest with you, pretty easy 4-1 game, which, you know, on paper we were like, this is a tough one. We were absolutely sensational today.
And Ollie, it feels like he's the kind of player you only really appreciate fully when you see him in person. Watching on TV doesn't do him justice for his movement, for his hold-up play. Everything you've just said there. The fact he has now equalled Gavi's Premier League record as well. He's just got the one more to go to be able to beat it in a very quick time in comparison as well. So we were talking about lows beforehand, and it only took him 33 seconds to be able to equal that. So it's just another achievement for him this season.
Yeah, I think personally it'll be an achievement he'll be incredibly proud of when he achieves that, and you know, I'm sure he'll score a hell of a lot more as well from there. But yeah, like you say, to watch him live is when you can fully appreciate his game as a whole. His hold-ups play, like we've just said, especially playing up front on your own, to bring other people into play, and like Alan mentioned, his running behind as a centre half is not something that
I always say something. You're only as good as your striker is up top, and that's me being completely and utterly selfish. But if you've got a striker that's prepared to do the hard work beyond, apart from hold-up play, when John or Tielemans or Boubacar Kamara, who incidentally was absolutely different class for us today and sniffed out so much danger today. So there wasn't really much to not worry about, but certainly in terms of that, there's more positives than negatives for us today, I would think. Yeah,
I think the performance was tremendous. Yeah. Certainly in terms of what was at stake in the game, and you know, having to go again so quickly after the game on Tuesday night. I think, you know, what the lads put out physically and then, you know, in quality wise was tremendous to watch.
Absolutely.
Like I say, an awful lot of quality, and also the quick start as well. We were talking about PSG in midweek, the fact that they got those 2 relatively quick goals in midweek, and like I say, just that, not even complacency, but to be straight away on it today. Is that deliberate?
Well, it's something you would listen. If you could start every game with your striker scoring a goal after a minute and a half or whatever it was, then you would take that.
Your score prediction, James, was straight away stopping.
Lasted 30 seconds.
I'm sure I said 4-1.
Definitely not. No. VAR check on that one.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of, you know, Ollie getting on, I think it settled everybody down in terms. Even though we conceded afterwards, and it was obviously that makes it 1-1. I think in the terms of everybody coming thinking, I don't know what's going to happen today. Is there anything after the PSV game? They've just spanked somebody. They're scoring goals for fun. And by the way, they've just conceded 4 goals to us, and could have been 5 and could have been 6.
Think about our goal difference just a few weeks ago as well.
And to be fair, they had a couple of half chances, but Emmy had 2 good saves. There was one I remember, one curler in the corner from maybe Guimaraes.
Have a turnaround there.
Oh.
Here is Ollie Watkins, our 33-second goal scorer. Hiya, Ollie. You
okay?
Well done, sir.
Hello, bud.
You all right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brilliant kid.
Before we get on to you, because we've got a whole load of achievements for you to discuss, but the game as a whole, statement of intent for those Champions League places, how much was that?
Yeah, I think it was massive. You know, Newcastle, unbelievable team. We saw what they did midweek to Palace, and we knew it was going to be tough coming here. But yeah, the manager got, you know, the tactics right, and yeah, we've punished them here today.
And to talk about the shrewd tactics as well, you coming back into the starting 11 here, 33 seconds to justify that decision straight away. What was your message going out there from the start?
Yeah, I felt like like I was on trial kind of thing.
But that's I mean, because I know you're hard on yourself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, I've said to him. Remember, I was at the training ground the other day. But don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, Al, I want to do this and I want to do that. Mind you, nice after 33 seconds to get going.
I know. Especially when it hits the defender's leg and the keeper can't.
But you could have had more than one today.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's one opportunity I fancy myself. I could have done better on, which I dragged wide, but
The little unlucky though.
the other two, which I've headed it, hit the post clean. I can't really do too much, and the one that hit the bar as well. So, yeah.
I'm watching you all the time, you know I do. I thought your movement today was good. You know that one in and out?
Yeah.
Ready to go? And say to him again, and there was you remember you went, you were like...
The second one?
Yeah.
The second half, I saw Shaw step up and I thought I was offside. Maybe should have kept going because you never know with VAR. But, yeah, they went man for man today, and I feel like when teams do that and, when I'm on it, I feel like I can cause any defender
Plus as well, that run in behind... You know that one when if Tielemans gets the ball, it's all right looking to get it to feet, but if you take it long and get them turning, so your run always triggers the pass for us, and then that gets them turning, and we can move up the pitch. I thought that was really good today. In other words, your selfish run going longer then.
Yeah, I think that's my game. Running in behind, causing defenders problems. I think no defender wants to be running back towards their own goal.
Yeah.
So
James was just discussing this actually.
He said 2 nosebleeds today, he wasn't even playing.
But James was also just discussing there your hold-up play, and that being a big part of your game, that you can do that like no one else can. In your mind, how big of a part is that? And is it something you are clearly very conscious of, or is it something that's just natural for you?
No, I think, like I said, when teams go man for man and I'm 1v1 with a centre-back, if I've got the better of him, then obviously you get a bit of growing confidence and you want the ball more. But sometimes it's difficult, like when against Forest, they had three big centre-backs, and it's hard to get the ball and get involved in the game, and it's very frustrating. So when teams are jumping and leave me 1v1 at the back, I'm kind of licking my lips, really.
The boys buzzing in the dressing room, they must be after that, because everybody was wondering how it was going to be today, bud.
Yeah, I think because with Newcastle, when we play them away, it's like it is here today. So, they've put 4 or 5 past us a couple of times. So, it's nice to get a little bit of revenge and beat them.
Now, in terms of you equaling Gabby's Premier League record now, has that been, we've discussed it a lot, has it been something that has been at the back of your mind?
Yeah, 100%. When I joined the club, in my first interview, I said it's something I got my eyes on, winning a trophy and then personally beating the record as well. So, yeah, to equal it is nice. I'm just looking forward to that, when I do it. And, I think it's a great achievement. I think you need to celebrate the little wins. And personally, people don't realise how hard it is to, play consistently in the Premier League, score goals, and, with injuries and stuff, it's very demanding. Obviously, this season, come back from the Euros, I've picked up a few niggles, and it has been frustrating. So, yeah, to do that and play consistently, score goals, I think I'm not going to let anyone take it away from me.
And we will let you go in just a moment, but I just want to ask, so 15 goals for you now in the Premier League, 7 assists. I spoke to you at the start of the season about you getting the Playmaker Award last year, and the assist part of your game as well being almost as crucial as the actual goal-scoring part. Is that still something you're taking a lot of pride in?
Yeah, I think so. I think, not to big myself up, but the way to pass for Ian Matson, I think.
I actually said that in my co-commentary. I remember co-commentary debut this evening, so he made my job very easy. But the way to pass was perfect for him.
My mate texted me and he said, have a bit of that.
Did he? Yeah. No, I think because I know as an attacker, if someone played that ball too far in front, I'm going to be fuming. So I think it makes his mind up for him, and I think sometimes it's actually harder to do when you're running at speed. So.
Definitely. Well, Ollie, you've been so generous with your time. We better let you go and get into the warm again.
I know you must.
Yeah, it's so cold. Thank you so much. And can't wait for you to break the record as well. Thank you so much, Ollie.
See you, Paul.
Big thank you to Ollie Watkins for coming out and seeing us. Better let him go and get warm because, as James is showing, he's looking very, very cold there. I know. I was thinking.
He's still buzzing,
and sliders as well. Yeah.
Buzzing.
What adrenaline can do for you.
Exactly.
But one thing we've always said about Ollie the whole way along, Just so humble, so down to earth.
He's a nice fella, isn't he?
Such a nice fella. And the fact that he takes everything in. He's such a realist as well, though, which can be difficult when you're in this kind of a cauldron. And, you know, you've got Champions League, you've got FA Cup, you've got Premier League, you're in the England squad. To stay that humble, that grounded, and that sort of aware of reality as well. You know, all of these little achievements, he doesn't take any of them for granted.
No, I think that probably helps with how consistent he's been as well. I think, you know, how his temperament is and how he seems to be as a person. He enjoys the wins, like he says, but I imagine he doesn't get, you know, too high with them or too low with the disappointments.
He doesn't like not playing. That's when I said to you at the start, when I saw him a couple of times. And he's like, oh, you know, Al. And I'm like, look, don't worry. I mean, form goes up and down, and you're always going to be a part of this. And don't worry, you're going to be a big part of this. And it was at the time when, you know, the manager was changing tactics and changing players and changing starting 11. And I kept on saying to him, I said, don't worry about it. So you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine because your quality will bring through and you'll score lots of goals for Aston Villa and you'll be a major factor here. And he is. And he gets down on himself. Look, we all do on ourselves, but there's nothing for him to be disappointed.
He's answered it in the best way possible, hasn't he?
Unbelievable.
Today.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than not playing, but then when you got your opportunity, you don't take it.
And he was so honest about that as well.
He was tremendous today.
When he just said, I felt like I was on trial. I mean, you know, he's so candid and so honest with us. I know he's having a bit of a joke at the same time about it. But, you know, there was a lot of discussion when John Duran was here and then, of course, Marcus Rashford coming in. We talk about competition for places. And one of the privileges you have when you are a well-established big team is you have competition for every single place. Ollie has got that and then some at present. Yeah, as you've just said there, he's risen to the occasion literally within the first minute.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm sure he was disappointed not to play, but that is the best way to answer that. You know, and the competition is only going to keep, you know, not just Ollie, but everyone else on their toes, and that's why you're seeing the levels of performance that we're getting from the team.
I know we're heavy on Ollie, and we should be, and it's just a little nudge to the gaffer just to say, look, anytime you call on me, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to give you that kind of performance. But I will talk about Marcus Rashford just for the 10, 15 minutes you come on. He was, you know, hungry. He did all the right things for us, and as coming on rather than sulky, I thought he was really good today. Genuinely, you know, taking the ball into safe areas for us, showing a little bit of pace, etc., at a time where we wanted to keep the ball, keep possession, and make sure they didn't get back in. But regardless of that little piece, just to throw in, just to give Marcus a pat in the back, I thought that Watkins led the line today really, really well and showed how good a football player and how integrally important he is for this football team.
Right, let's take it back to the game then. So we've already discussed the first goal with Ollie. And then, of course, Newcastle get one back. What are you thinking at that point?
I'm thinking we got caught at the back post, leaving Shah with Maatsen. And I think Ian's a little bit unlucky because I don't think he thinks that Barnes' ball is going to be that good to the back post. But even then, it kind of goes in between Martinez's legs. And we were a little bit unlucky, but it's one of them you're like, oh, really?
It was a good header, to be fair, wasn't it, to get it?
It was a really good header.
From that range. Burns' run takes Tyrone away as well, which leaves Maatsen with Shah, which is probably a situation you don't really want to find yourself in as a full-back. But as disappointing as it was with the good start, I never felt like there wasn't going to be more chances in the game for us.
No, end to end. And you looked at the stats after the first half. I mean, Villa had the higher XG. I think it was 0.59.
Your favourite XG.
It's only because I know it winds you up.
Oh, God.
And,
not a fan of the XG.
No.
He's not a fan.
Well,
so
I always say
the
XG is meant to be 1. If you and I are playing, I'm saying our XG is 20. Because I would expect to score a goal.
I'm sure that's exactly how it works. So we knew it was end to end. It could have gone either way at that point. It felt like the game was teetering on a knife edge going into half time. Coming out for the second half, what did you make of Villa's intent then?
I thought it was really good. I thought we controlled the ball better in stages, moving the ball between not necessarily defence to midfield, but midfield to front. I thought that was really important today. And I go back to the Ollie Watkins movement, makes it not easier for the midfield players, but certainly in terms of, you know, Maatsen being a willing runner. Today, Matty Cash as well, getting down as much as he possibly could, pushing, forcing them back the way rather than thinking, you know, the ball's bouncing off. Because the ball, if you can hold the ball up like the likes of whether it's a midfield player or even Ollie Watkins, the ball doesn't come back to us then, so we're not defending all the time. So we kind of controlled the ball better in the second half. And because of that, that's when we start to create chances. I thought we were really good second half and scored goals at really important times. And they gifted us a goal on the third goal because they thought they were being smart. We were all over them, nicked the ball, really quick movement, goal in the back of the net. And they were like, hang on a minute, I can't believe what's just happened there. So we've done to them what Paris Saint-Germain did to us a couple of weeks ago, and that was really brilliant to see from the lads.
Do you think talking about PSG, do you think there's a lot of learning that Villa have had?
Oh, yeah.
From facing PSG? Have you seen a different Villa?
Kate, you don't play in games that we were lucky to play in without thinking, oh, right, okay, I'll try and remember that. Or that's what we could do. To make us, not necessarily better, but more dynamic. You have to show energy. You have to be. It's a tough job to make sure you're on the ball all the time and trying to nick the ball off them as well as control the ball and play someone in. And I thought in the second half, I thought we were absolutely excellent at it.
James, I'll ask you that same question then. Is it something that Villa will have learned plenty from? Because we talk about the run that we were on for the Champions League, how fantastic it was just from being in the present moment, also the financial aspect. But in terms of the learning aspect as well, do you agree with what Alan said?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as players and individuals, when you come up against top-class individuals like you have done and top-class teams, you undoubtedly pick things up that you take into your own game. But I imagine Unai has obviously watched clips, and yeah, I'm sure he has took things from that to help the team going forward. I just think it's so impressive how he has the team set up tactically, especially with the quick succession of games. I don't think there's ever a question in anyone's mind that they have any doubt of what they are to do in a match.
The very first question you asked Ollie Watkins, do you know one of his first answers, what he said? He said the manager's tactics.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the first thing I was like, oh. So, I mean, regardless of what tactics we've played against Palace, Southampton, whomever, PS, tactics here. We're playing, it's a specific team we're playing, Newcastle, flying, scoring goals, not giving too many goals up. Villa Park, 4-1. Thanks very much, see you later. Gaffer's got the tactics spot on. And everybody's listening to him, how they want to play, where they expect the ball to be coming from in areas when we have the ball and when we don't have the ball. And that was probably the biggest thing that he said there, regardless of obviously he's going to break the record. I thought that was really good, and he knows how important the manager is in setting up whatever way he thinks we have to play against whatever opposition we're playing against.
The other strength we talked about beforehand in our pre-match show was the strength and depth we have off the bench. We saw that Jacob Ramsey, Amadou Onana, nearly instant impacts from the pair of those two. When you look at Newcastle's bench, as we said before, and the firepower that they are lacking to be able to bring on to change a game, they were probably the team at that point needing some sort of firepower to come on and change the game. Whereas you looked exactly who we're sending on, Marlon as well, and how sharp he's looked every single time he's come on. Again, just to reiterate, our bench, it is a 22-man squad now.
Yeah, we spoke before about
First 11, I should say.
About how important the squad is in modern day football now, and yeah, I don't think as a manager you can ask for any more than the impact that certainly JJ and Onana had instantly. And you talk about Newcastle's replacements. I think they were preparing 2 or 3 subs after the second goal, but it was a bit too late because the third goal had already gone in by the time they were able to make those changes and try and have an impact on the game.
So Aston Villa now in 6th on 57 points, the same points as Nottingham Forest, who have got that game in hand on 57 points as well. Chelsea on 54, also with a game in hand. But something we spoke about, Alan, a few weeks ago, the fact that it puts the pressure on those other teams now. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but now they've got to go and win those games. Absolutely,
but I think more importantly, there's a massive statement there today, because anybody thinks they're coming here to turn us over might have to think again, because Homer form is so strong. We've got a tough game Tuesday night against City. City won today. Can't remember, was it 2-0? 2-0 today. So they are, as we expect, probably going to be pushing to make sure they're in that top 4. But in that kind of form, I think they'll be genuinely wary about us. We've got some tough games coming up, but nevertheless, we're in a really good position. It was a huge 3 points today. I mean, you and I before were talking about, is that a 6-pointer? You're like, well, if you think about it, if you're a Newcastle player, we're coming here to beat Aston Villa today to probably secure Champions League football. Turned over 4-1, all of a sudden they've got work to do, and it's put us in a position where we can look forward to Tuesday night now, an FA Cup semi-final, and then Bournemouth Fulham, etc., etc. So we'll still have opportunities that hopefully might put us in minimum to 5th, and then we'll just see what takes. You know, the other teams that you said have a game in hand against us, we'll just have to worry about that at the time.
Momentum's a funny thing, isn't it? Man City up next, another huge game. Feels like every single game we're saying is huge, but certainly Newcastle at home, Man City away, then quick turnaround again. But with momentum, confidence, there's no reason they can't take that into Tuesday.
No, absolutely not, and certainly with the level of opposition that they played against PSG the other night, I don't think this squad will be going into games against anyone anymore thinking that they can't compete. So the momentum that the club are on at the moment will put them in good stead going into Tuesday. But I think other clubs will probably looking at Aston Villa to see how they would react, being knocked out of Europe as well. And you've answered those questions.
We've just beat a team that kind of is almost in the best form in the last month and properly turned them over, genuinely. And I think we can take a lot of confidence in that one. But maybe I shouldn't say this, what I'm going to say actually, but it takes the pressure off us a little bit, winning today, going to City on Tuesday. And it's not a free hit, and we'll take what we can get out of there. And maybe we go with a little bit more confidence, etc., because the manager will have different tactics for a different game. But certainly in terms of winning that today, that was a humongous 3 points for us today. Apart from the result, I thought the performance was really, really good. And we saw a great performance in the second half against PSG. Well, listen, it was just as good today rather. It's, and we managed to really turn Newcastle over, who I'm going to say again, they're a good team, but we're even better at home.
The fact that they were coming into this vying potentially for second place, even looking above rather than even below Newcastle into this. So huge 3 points. Right, lads, I think we'll leave it there. We'll let you go and get warm. You've been sat outside this entire time. Good job on co-comms, though, by the way.
Well, you've not listened to it yet, so you're not so sure.
I am. That's very true, actually. I'm just throwing it out there. But, lads, thank you so much for coming back and joining me as the players and their families are having a kickabout behind us on Villa Park's pitch. But thank you so much to the lads. Thank you so much for watching as well. A huge 3 points for Aston Villa. 4-1 against Newcastle United on the day. Lions beat the Magpies. It's only right, isn't it? Up the Villa.